Hey, this is Taugrim. In response to questions from healers on how to stay alive in patch 1.5 given the current rough conditions, I'm sharing with you my thoughts. I'm still running the same healing spec I used in patch 1.4. It's my MASH melee healer spec, and at the start of this video we were trying to cap the scope node, but Defiance came to defend it and there were too many, so we're pulling a controlled retreat, and right here I punt a rogue away from me and immediately charge him. So you can use an opponent like that if you're trying to create a gap. Just punt an opponent in the direction you want to go and then battle charge them. Right here I switch from Mien of Honor to Mien of Leadership. So I lose the 50% buff on healing for doctrines, but I do gain my armor buff from Mien of Leadership, and I found that with the increased damage from rogues that in some situations it's required to even survive. So right here the rogue comes out of stealth, I cut the angle on him and punt him back using Crushing Wave. And you can see I'm using my knockbacks and snares whenever I can to create a gap. And then right there I blew my 5-minute burst cooldown heal reprieve. Now, one thing which is really important when you're trying to pull a retreat like this is to never backpedal because it's too slow, and to never turn around and run away and give up your back. If you give up your back, you not only lose line of sight on opponents that you could be crowd controlling or building up convictions on, you also lose the ability to parry, and it's really important. So what you see me doing in this entire retreat is strafing or kiting. And what that simply means is I'm using the left strafe and right strafe keys so that I'm running sideways, and as long as you're running sideways away from an opponent, you retain what's technically considered your frontal facing. So you can still parry their attacks, they're still in your line of sight, you can still use your abilities on them as necessary. A lot of times while I'm strafing sideways, I'll sit there and knock people back with Crushing Wave. In a moment here, I do get some really nice clutch healing from a friendly Chloro Mage. It looks like a hybrid spec mage who's healing me, because otherwise I probably would have died. And I can't ever stop really to while we're doing this and retreating, because I'm going to die. And in a moment here I get CC'd, and as soon as I come out of it I start spamming my punt to try to create separation from this rogue. You can see actually there are no enemy healers here. It's just the rogue now and another rogue and a mage. But Nightblade's got some pretty cool tools for survivability. Now, I use this pillar here to get line of sight, and one thing you can do in some situations is spend a global cooldown to remove the Fell Blades or Vampiric Munitions debuff, but it depends whether or not you can spare that global cooldown. In some situations like the footage I just showed, as a healer I'm under so much pressure that I can't afford to burn a global cooldown to cleanse an ability that may be reapplied the next time the rogue attacks. And a 20% proc rate in my opinion is pretty hefty, and if you have multiple rogues DPSing you, there's a very good probability you're going to get that debuff placed on you pretty quickly. Now, I'd be really curious to hear how you other healers have adjusted to 1.5, so tell me if you've switched specs or if you have a different play style. I'd be really curious to hear what people are doing. If you have any questions about strafing, please click on the video link at the top of this video.